Hey there, welcome to Violet's DIY Style. I'm Violet, and today's tutorial I'm super excited to be able to participate in a challenge called Chic for Cheap Craft Challenge. Now this challenge is hosted by Christi from Christi Creates, and her co-host is Nicole from The Week's Nest, and I'll make sure to leave their information down below along with the playlist of this challenge. So what the challenge is for us to share how we recreate some home decor piece that maybe we've seen at a store or online, and share with you how we recreate it at a budget-friendly price. Now, I was inspired by something that I had seen online that was $112, and I actually recreated it for $10, and it's this round letterboard, and I say it's more of a farmhouse style letterboard. But what I used to recreate this was a round hula hoop, and then also some painter sticks. Now, I got my painter sticks on Amazon, but I know at your local hardware store you can purchase painter sticks as well. I used 20 painter sticks for this project, but I'll make sure to leave the Amazon link down below for what I use as these painter sticks. So what I did first was grab 4 of these sticks and then glue them to form an X. And I just used my hot glue gun for this part. Once you've formed your X and it's nice and cool, go ahead and grab your hula hoop, and what you're going to do is glue your hula hoop on top of these this X that you just made with the painter sticks. So just add your hot glue or permanent glue to all the ends of your painter sticks. Now you can see the painter sticks are a little bit larger than what my hula hoop is. So all I'm gonna do is once it's all cool, I'll just go around and with my box cutter and cut off all those extra pieces. So now what I did was I worked in little sections. So I started with one section and just grabbed some painter sticks and basically started gluing onto one of those X's just at the top of part of the painter stick to that end, and then I'm just going to form a different design. Now you can make any kind of design you want. You can cut these painter sticks up and make smaller different designs. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. I just didn't want to worry about it not looking all the same on all 4 sides of my letterboard. So I just made the little, I want to say arrow design, where you basically add one painter stick to one side and then glue another painter stick to the other side, just like this. And all I'm using is my hot glue. Don't worry about using permanent glue just yet. But if you don't feel comfortable with just using hot glue, of course you can use any kind of permanent glue. And towards the end, or when you're completely done, you can add some more support in the back by adding a cardboard or something like that if you want, to make sure that everything stays in place. But the hot glue worked perfectly fine for me. So here I am again, just adding one painter stick to one side, gluing just the top part to the painter sticks that are already there, and then I'm just continuing this design all the way down, which I call the arrow design. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but that's what I call it. If you know what it really is called, let me know in the comments below. But again, you just continue adding your painter sticks from one side to the other just to form that triangle arrow shape. And here I just remove the glue as I go, just to make sure that it stays nice and smooth, so I don't have to sand it down later on that much. So once you're done with that, and you see there's still a little piece left that I need to fill in with some board, but what I decided to do was just go ahead and get my box cutter and just go around the hula hoop and start cutting all these extra pieces of the wood that I'm using, and then I'm just going to recycle these and continue using them throughout my project. So I did one side, and now I'm going to cut the other side as well. So just hold on to your hula hoop and just start cutting off all those extra pieces of wood. Now I haven't glued the back or the bottom part of each piece of wood to my hula hoop, and you'll see why in just a minute, because I wanted to make sure I had everything nice and even before I did start gluing all of it. So now that it's all cut, now you see me adding the ring of glue onto all the ends of my pieces of wood, and then I'm just going to press down my hula hoop to that section. And that's how it stays once it's all completely done. So it stays perfectly fine, and all of them are nice and even right where the hula hoop is at as well. So now you have all those extra pieces of wood, but to start off your little next section, you do need a regular size painter stick, because that's the longest piece of wood that you are going to add to your project. So you will need the larger, longer ones. So just use a normal painter stick again, and just start doing the same process to this section of your letter board, which you just add your hot glue and start gluing one piece of painter stick to the one that's already there, and then you just continue doing that process, going from one side to the other side, and continue gluing your pieces of wood. I think this is such a fun way to write little sayings, and maybe design it and draw and use letters to write cute sayings for any holiday, or even a happy birthday, or anything like that you like. I know that you typically see the square letter boards, and that's not what I was looking for. So when I saw this and I was inspired by it online, I was super happy that I actually figured out a way to make this. I don't know about you guys, but when I do craft, I tend to start thinking about other things that I can do, basically using the same thing or some of the same techniques that I'm doing for the project that I'm making at that moment. And when I was making this letter board, I just started thinking about all kinds of things that I could do using the same design that I'm doing now. But you guys let me know what you're thinking of that you can do besides a letter board using the same technique. For instance, I thought I could even make a little coffee table with this, or an end table, and it would be absolutely beautiful. But I'm still thinking about what I can use for legs if I do decide to make a table with this same design. But let me know in the comments below, what are you thinking you can make with the same technique that we're doing today? So as you can see, I'm using some of the pieces of wood that I already did cut from the first section. So this is how you keep your budget and keep it as low as possible, because you are using basically the entire piece of wood of each painter stick. So here you just kind of play with each one that you already cut, and you start using the pieces that do fit. So once you're done with your second section, then you just go ahead and do the same thing. Add your glue along the edge of each one of these pieces of wood, basically right underneath the hula hoop, and then you glue that section down. Once it's nice and cool, just go ahead and get any sharp object that you're using to cut your wood, and you cut off all those extra pieces of wood in this section. And here I am just cutting off or removing all the extra pieces. So now we're going to go to our third section. And for our third section, we're going to start the process again using all of the new painter sticks, because we don't have large enough pieces to use just yet. So we're just going to use the larger painter sticks again, just like we did at the beginning. And then we're going to continue the same process, adding one painter stick to one side and then going to the opposite side to form that arrow. And I'm making mine more of a farmhouse style, but let me know what style you're going to make yours, because I can see this in a teenager's room. You can paint it or spray paint it gold and silver for holidays just, you know, there's the endless possibilities of what you can make with these kind of creations with any crafter or anything that you see online. Sometimes you like the design or the shape of it, but you don't really necessarily like the colors or how they displayed it. But once you get an idea, you can create anything you want for your home with just a little bit of imagination and a little bit of time in order for you to make your crafts. And that's what I absolutely love about crafting, that I can redecorate and decorate my home any way I want, just basically by getting inspired from other crafters or different shops or magazines to make something that's personal for my home that works and fits into my style as well, and my budget, of course. So here I am again, just cutting those pieces of wood off of that that are outside of my hula hoop. And then these are long enough again to be reused for the other section, which will be our fourth and final section of this letter board. So just continue the process of gluing one of the painter sticks on one side and then working your way all the way down again. So once you're completely done adding all of your pieces of wood to your letter board, go ahead and allow everything to dry. And then we're going to start on our next step, which will be sanding everything down. So before I did decide to sand everything down, what I decided to do was, instead of using Velcro for my letters, what I had initially thought of doing, I went ahead and thought about using these building blocks or Jenga blocks that you can get at Dollar Tree as well. And I'm just using one package. And what I'm doing is just gluing two of these pieces of wood together just to make it easier for me when I do decide how long or what length I want each one of these sections to be on my letter board. So this part you can do any way you want. If you already know exactly the length that you want to use and how you want to place them onto your letter board, then you don't necessarily have to glue two at a time. So now, once I have all of my blocks glued together, I'm just going to start playing with them and figuring out where I want to place each one of these lines that will be holding my pieces of wood with my letters on them. So you can make as many of these lines as you like. I'm just going to stick with 3. So once you do figure out how many lines you want to make, just go ahead and start gluing all of your pieces together. And then you can use wood glue and glue all of your pieces down to your letter board as well. So just use a ruler and kind of separate them and make sure you have them all even and straight where you want to place them. Now with wood glue, you do have to make sure you let this sit and dry for at least a good hour to 2 hours at least, in order to make sure that that wood glue does dry completely and you can move on to your next step. So once everything is nice and dry, this is the way it looks. So on the top, you can hang a little letter, a nail to put a miniature wreath or something like that as well. So what I'm going to do for the top part, in order for me to hang my letter board, I'm going to use one of these shower curtain rings. And at first I thought about maybe just spray painting it. But what I decided to do was go ahead and wrap it with some jute twine. So before I did all of that, I went ahead now and sanded everything down. And make sure you do sand the back part as well, and also all around the hula hoop. That way you won't have any rough edges where you cut the pieces of wood from. So I'm going to make mine more of a farmhouse style. So what I did was get some white paint and just dilute it with water and start brushing it onto my wood. And here's where you can be really creative and draw different designs or paint your wood any color, or even leave it as is if you want more of that boho style as well. So here's where you can make it your own and customize it to fit your home or whatever area you're going to place your letterboard at. And I lost my footage of me painting the hula hoop, but I did paint my hula hoop gray, and it was the elephant color from Apple Barrel, I believe. But I'll make sure to leave that information down below for you guys, so you can know what colors exactly I used. So once I was done painting, I went ahead and set it aside and allowed it to dry. Now these are some little pieces of wood that I had purchased from Amazon, and I'll make sure to leave that link down below as well. But I know now that Dollar Tree has some of these pieces of wood as well. So if you can find some, use them from Dollar Tree. That'd be a lot less expensive, and you can just use as many as you like, or for whatever saying you want to add to your letterboard. And here I'm just showing you I'm using a stencil to write each one of the letters onto my pieces of wood. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing it this way, you can easily just grab a marker and write each one of the letters down onto the pieces of wood. You can use stickers. Even if you have a Cricut, you can use your Cricut and add the letters that way. I might do that for Christmas, just to make them more decorative, to write something for Christmas on my letterboard as well. So I'll make sure to leave a picture on my Instagram for you guys to see how I change this letterboard up with every season. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'll make sure to leave that information down below for you, so you can go follow me there. So just use any paint, any color you want, and just start dabbing it onto your pieces of wood by adding your stencil right on top. And then you just hold it on with one finger and start sponging that paint onto those letters, onto the pieces of wood. So once all your letters are done, go ahead and grab the jute twine and that curtain ring and start wrapping that yarn or rope onto your curtain ring as well. This was the easiest way I found to do this. Now, as you're wrapping around your jute twine around the ring, you can add some glue every so often just to make sure it all stays nice and tight and in place. So once you're done wrapping all the rope around your ring, just go ahead and cut off any of the extra piece of ribbon. And now you can glue it to the top part of your letterboard. And the way I did that was I actually used a Jenga block that, again, I don't know where that footage is at, but I just glued that Jenga block right on top of my hula hoop along with my ring board. And then you just add your letters and write anything on here that you like. So here is the way it turned out. I just wrote the witches in because I did make this right before Halloween. So I hope you enjoyed. Again, if you did, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, and also check the playlist down below for all the other fun crafters that participated in this month's crafting challenge. So until next time, you guys stay blessed. Bye.